Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. I, 42 male, never thought I'd be that dad. The one who refuses to take in his own child when she comes knocking at the door with tears in her eyes. And yet, here I am. And now my parents, friends, and even some of my co-workers are calling me heartless, cruel, and emotionally stunted for it. Maybe I am, but before you pass judgment, let me take you back 5 years and explain what really happened. My ex-wife Jenna, 39 female, and I were married for 12 years. We had 3 kids together: Emma, now 15 female, Noah, 10 male, and Lily, 12 female. Our divorce was not amicable. Jenna blindsided me with it. I thought things were going okay, but apparently she had already been seeing someone else, a guy named Thomas, and had made plans to move in with him once the dust settled. Now, I didn't fight her on the divorce. I was heartbroken, but not delusional. What I did fight her on was custody. I wanted joint custody, 50-50. I've always been a hands-on dad. I did school runs, packed lunches, helped with homework, stayed up with them when they were sick. I wasn't perfect, but I was present, always. And I thought my kids loved me just as much as I loved them. But then Jenna pulled the rug out from under me. She filed for full custody, citing emotional instability on my part, which was a joke. I've never even had so much as a traffic ticket. And claimed I was too angry and too unpredictable to be a consistent parent. It was all lies, but it was the testimony from Emma, our eldest, that broke me. She took the stand and said I'd yelled at her, scared her, that I couldn't control my temper. She said she didn't feel safe around me, and that her siblings cried when it was time to come over to my place. I sat there stunned, staring at this child I had cradled as a newborn, taught to ride a bike, sat with through ear infections and fevers, and she just annihilated me with her words. I lost. The judge granted Jenna full custody. I was given supervised visitation for the younger two for the first year. Emma refused to see me at all. At the time, I begged her to talk to me. I asked her why. She ignored my texts, blocked my number. When I sent her a letter through my lawyer asking if she wanted to speak privately, Jenna replied with a restraining order threat. I hadn't yelled. I hadn't touched anyone. But that courtroom performance had sealed my fate. Over the next few years, I got my supervised visitation moved to regular scheduled weekends with Noah and Lily, but Emma remained distant. I sent birthday cards, never a reply. I dropped off gifts through mutual friends. Nothing. Eventually, I stopped. It was too painful. She had made her choice. Fast forward 5 years. 2 weeks ago, I'm sitting in my living room watching a baseball game when I hear a knock at the door. It's late. Nearly 9 p.m. I open it, and there's Emma. 15 now, but looking older. Pale, bags under her eyes, hair tied up messily and shaking. In her hands is a duffel bag. Behind her, there's no car. She walked. My first reaction, confusion, then wariness. Before I can say anything, she blurts, "I'm sorry, Dad. I was wrong. Can I come in?" I don't know what possessed me, but I let her in. She sat on the couch, and after what felt like the longest silence in history, she started talking. Apparently, things at her mom's house are falling apart. Jenna and her husband Thomas are on the brink of divorce. Emma had overheard them fighting, loudly now, in their bedroom. Thomas was yelling that he never wanted to play stepdad, that he's tired of paying for kids that aren't his, and that he's done with this circus. Jenna shouted back that she only fought for full custody because she needed the child support payments, and that she had to convince Emma to lie, because otherwise she'd never get the amount of money they needed. Emma said she'd been sitting outside the door, paralyzed, listening, realizing everything she believed for the past 5 years was a lie, that she'd been used, manipulated, weaponized against me. She cried as she told me all this, apologized over and over, said she wanted to make things right, that she couldn't stay in that house anymore. Thomas had started slamming doors, muttering insults under his breath, calling the kids brats and leeches. He even kicked a hole in the wall during one argument. Jenna didn't defend them. She told Emma to just stay quiet and let it blow over. Now she wants to live with me. Said she wants to start fresh. Go to school here. Maybe get a part-time job. And here's where I might be the asshole. I told her no. I told her she made her choice 5 years ago, that I begged her to talk to me back then, that I would have moved heaven and earth for her. And she slammed the door in my face, that she didn't just hurt me, she destroyed me in court, and it took everything in me to rebuild even a semblance of a relationship with her siblings. That she was old enough at 10 to know better, old enough to realize what she was doing when she testified. She said she was manipulated, that she believed her mother, that she thought she was protecting her siblings. And maybe that's true. Maybe. But I also know she's only here now because she needs something. She didn't come back when things were good. She came back when her mom's marriage imploded and she had nowhere else to go. I told her she couldn't live with me, that I didn't trust her yet, that she could come for dinner once a week and we'd see where things went. She burst into tears, told me I was cruel, asked how I could turn away my own daughter. So I asked her how could she has done what she's done to her real father. She left with her bag still in hand. Since then, my parents have called me daily. My mother is in tears, saying I'm being too harsh, that Emma's still a child, that I should be the bigger person, that now is the time to heal. My dad is more measured, but said something that stung. Son, if you turn your back on her now, you might not get another chance. Kids screw up, but you don't stop being their parent. But I didn't stop being her parent. I fought for her. I waited. I hoped. And she looked me in the eye and lied, then let 5 years go by without a single word. Now that the life she chose is crumbling, she comes back. And maybe I'm a monster for not flinging open my arms and welcoming her in, but I don't think I have it in me to be hurt by her again. So, am I an a-hole? OP is definitely not in the wrong here. People love throwing around she was just a kid, like that erases everything. She wasn't 6, she was 10. Old enough to understand that what she said had weight and what is a lie. Old enough to ignore OP's calls and birthday cards for 5 years. Now that the stepdad is done playing happy family, suddenly she realizes she made a mistake? That's not redemption, that's survival. OP is protecting himself, and frankly, setting a boundary she needs to learn to respect. And now let's hear community's opinion. Yes, the a-hole, a little. I get it, man, I really do. But she was manipulated by someone she trusted, her mother. That hits different. It's not like a random adult fed her lies. It was the person she lived with and probably looked up to. Yes, she hurt you. Yes, she vanished for 5 years. But what she did was based on a lie she thought was the truth. That's the definition of parental alienation. If you shut her out completely now, you're just confirming every horrible thing her mother told her. Give her a path to earn your trust back. Not a wall, not the a-hole. You're not refusing to ever forgive her. You're saying you need time, and that's more than fair. Your daughter didn't just make a mistake. She helped destroy your relationship with her siblings and took your fatherhood away. You're allowed to heal at your own pace. If she's serious about wanting to reconnect, she'll understand that rebuilding trust takes more than showing up with a duffel bag and a sob story. No a-holes here. She was a scared kid who got manipulated by someone she loved and trusted. You're a heartbroken father who was pushed out of his kids' lives and deeply traumatized. You're both hurting. There's no clear villain here, except maybe the mother, just two people carrying different wounds from the same war. I hope you can find a way back to each other, but it has to be slow and on your terms. Don't let anyone guilt you into something you're not ready for. My son is getting married to a wonderful woman. We loved her since the first day we met her. She was very nice and polite and very good with my granddaughter. My granddaughter is 15, and she never got along with my son's partners, so it's nice to see the amazing relationship between her and her future stepmom. We were all talking and wedding came up. We asked them what they were planning to do, and they told us that they can't afford their dream wedding and their dream honeymoon, so they're trying to decide which one to choose. I offered that they could do both, and I'll pay half the price. My other son asked me why I'm paying for their wedding when I didn't pay for his. I told him that I didn't like his wife, and he knows it. She has been very cold towards us since the first day we met, and she hardly ever speaks to us. I can't be expected to pay for a wedding I don't approve of. He said I'm showing favoritism. I told him I'm not. I didn't pay for his brother's first wedding either, so in order to not show favoritism, I'm willing to pay for his next wedding. He blew up at me and called me an a-hole and left. Wait, Did you just imply during the conversation that you think your son's marriage will fall apart? You're the a-hole for the blatant favoritism and for telling your son that you think there might be a divorce. That's really insensitive and mean. You're the a-hole. You sound like King Lear, handing out cash to the kids that kiss your butt the most. This isn't about your son's wives. It's about your sons. If you're prepared to treat them this differently over this, I'd bet money it's not the first time you've shown favoritism. Oh, I laughed out loud at you paying for a second wedding. Thank you. Not the a-hole. Is it favoritism? Yup. Between the wives, not the sons. It's your money and you can choose how you spend it. My family has always been very clear about the difference in children. I do not blame them. This is normal from families to have favorites. Family members would praise him for being light-skinned and handsome, while calling me short-nosed and ugly for being monolid eyes. My father clearly had preference for my brother as a child. For example, he'll berate me for eating before my brother because he's younger, so I should prioritize him. He said that while eating himself. He made me go late to class and have to stand outside every day because I have to pick up my brother. One time, I told my brother to walk halfway on his own and ran back. I got berated for being such a bad person. These are only examples as it will be too long to list them all. As soon as I'm out of high school, my family kept pushing me to find work and telling me education is pointless. There was no need to go to college. I managed to save up money and lifted the family from poverty. We used to live with a budget of $5 per week for food. Now we are living well. My father doesn't work. He's a shut-in. He locks himself in his room all day long without coming out unless it's for food. He's the reason why we were poor. I support the family 100% by myself by working gigs. Come to this day, my brother is about to graduate high school soon. He is very bad in school. He failed most of his school subjects and doesn't like to study. He is an art person, and family wants him for economy degree. He made it clear he doesn't want to go to college, but the family insisted him on going to college. The reason is, it's shameful for the family if both children don't go to college. I expressed my desire to go to college, and I was told that it's pointless for me to go to college, and my brother needed it more because he's going to have wife and kids in the future. To them, I already worked out, so there's no more need for me to get a degree. I don't support my brother going to college simply because he doesn't like studying, and it's a waste of money, and forcing someone who doesn't want to go isn't going to work anyway. I was called a heartless monster for not wishing my own brother's good future. Last night, my father talked about giving his printer machine to my brother for his college. Every day they must talk about college, rubbing it in my face that my brother is going no matter what I stand on. I still refuse to support him for college. I know that I should wish for my brother to be successful, but I cannot accept that his future is more important than mine. I feel like wasted 4 years for nothing. My brother still doesn't want to go, but he doesn't want to fight. He said no a lot and wasn't taken seriously. After denied his opinion on not going for times, he stopped and seemed to accept that he's going no matter what. Would I be the a-hole if I disown my brother and leave the family and cut all contact if my brother goes to college? Not the a-hole, but the real problem here is the parents, not the brother. You should be disowning them if anybody. Everything else you should do though. I am concerned that you are subjugating your own life in order to support your family. This could go on for years until you have lost your best chances at a good life. To me, it is less about college and your sibling and parents playing favorites. It is about your right and responsibility to look after yourself. It sounds like you have reached a breaking point with your family, and that can be a very good thing. Your parents are making foolish plans, destined to end badly for everyone if brother is compelled to go to college. Money will be wasted. Please feel free to make your own plans and look out for yourself. If you have college dreams, do all you can to make them come true. You sound like a go-getter, level-headed person, and you have what it takes to make a good future for yourself. Not the a-hole, though it appears your brother is also unhappy in this situation. You can disown your parents together. Context. I'm 25 female. My parents have been divorced for 15 years. My dad has been married to his wife Laura for 10 years. Laura has 2 children, Katie, 26, and Sam, 22. My dad is very close to Katie and Sam and considers them to be daughters to him. The grandfather I'm referring to is my dad's father. My grandfather has a diamond that belonged to my great-grandmother, and it's something of a family miracle, since my grandfather managed to find it after World War II. Unfortunately, he lost his mother and sister in the war, so he saved the diamond to be for the next woman in the family, to be set into an engagement ring. Now, my grandfather has a thing about blood and family. Namely, if you're not blood, you can be family, but you're not in the family. I am pretty sure this is somewhat related to his trauma, but it might be a generational thing. Because of this distinction, his sons were not allowed to use the diamond for their wives' rings, because then the diamond would belong to the wife, and the wife is not blood. I am his only biological granddaughter, so it was always presumed that the diamond would go to me. I got engaged last year, and I didn't end up using the diamond for the ring. The diamond was not the color or cut of the style I wanted, and my grandfather knew that. He offered to have the diamond recut, but I begged him not to because it is very valuable, and I know how much it means to him, and he agreed that when I get married, he will set it into a necklace to be worn on my wedding day instead. Now, Katie is going to get engaged soon. My dad is likely to be asked to walk her down the aisle. Laura asked that my grandfather give her the diamond for her ring, since she is basically my father's daughter. My grandfather said, and I quote, "Not even over my dead body," and that the diamond will stay in the family. That said, Laura, my dad, and Katie are now extremely upset. My dad suggested maybe I could ask my grandfather to let them use the diamond, since I hadn't used it for a ring anyway, and that he considers Katie part of his family and will be forever, so it should be okay for her to have it, especially since she is older, so the first woman as it were. My grandfather would probably relent if I asked him, but I said no because I would feel too guilty. That diamond is all my grandfather has left of a family he lost in the most horrific circumstances when he was 9 years old. They don't even have graves. That stone is literally all he has to remember them. What right do any of us have to dictate what he does with it? Katie, Laura, and my dad have all been texting and calling about how hurt they are that I'm letting my grandfather exclude Katie from the family, and that I already have a ring. Why can't I just help my grandfather soften and let Laura and her kids be part of the family? I'm holding firm on it for now, but should I be? That diamond is all my grandfather has left of a family he lost in the most horrific circumstances when he was 9 years old. They don't even have graves. That stone is literally all he has to remember them. What right do any of us have to dictate what he does with it? Not the a-hole. As much as they may be upset, it's not theirs. Your grandfather wants it to go to someone genetically related to him, not to someone brought into the family by marriage. His reasoning is exactly the same reason he didn't give it to the women marrying into the family. Grandpa has a right to say no. Your dad and stepsisters will just have to get over it. Edit. The hard truth is that they are not his grandchildren. They are step-grandkids, and family heirlooms don't typically pass down to stepchildren, especially with an older generation. Good Lord, not the a-hole. Laura, my dad, and Katie are now extremely upset. Why? Because Katie doesn't get a payout to become part of the family? How about your dad respect his father's wishes? His property, he can do with it whatever he wants, which is not give it to someone that is only in the family by marriage. You are Grandpa's family. You get to carry on the tradition that is so important to him. And your dad is totally awful for trying to manipulate you into manipulating your grandfather. It isn't your grandfather's job to make sure this childish woman feels welcome. He has a great plan by putting it in a necklace for you, his blood granddaughter. Stand firm. Don't get tied up in their schemes. Your dad is sacrificing his integrity to get in good with his new wife, and her daughter is totally entitled. Next will be, she deserves a different thing because she didn't get this. This is just gold digging with extra steps. I am sorry your dad is not seeing it for what it is, but that is exactly what it is. I, 27 female, am getting married in June. We're having a destination wedding, so it's taken a while to plan. We had to make sure that everyone has tickets to get there on time, hotels, travel fees, etc. My nephew, 18 male, has always made negative comments about my fiancé, 25 female, since we got together. My nephew's negative comments usually attack her appearance, her voice, and he often says that he thinks she isn't the right one for me. I've pulled him aside on multiple occasions to tell them that how he talks about my fiancé bothers me, but he tells me that he's just joking. He rarely makes these jokes in front of her, but when he does, my fiancé laughs it off. She says she doesn't care about what he says because he's immature. My fiancé and I went to see my family for Easter. When we were on our way home, My fiancé told me she had overheard a joke that my nephew made about her to our cousin, and she was really upset. He made a joke that my fiancé plays house with our family because her family don't want her. This hurt my fiancé because her family doesn't accept her, so my family took her in. She expressed to me that when he makes those kind of jokes, it makes her feel like a burden on my family. We've been dating for 4 years, and my family loves her. I called my brother and told him about what his son said. I told him that I was tired of my nephew constantly disrespecting my fiancé and our relationship, and I didn't want him at my wedding anymore. My brother understood where I was coming from with the disrespect, but he says that disinviting his son is too far, since they've already paid for everything. He says that my nephew has never been nice about my relationship, and if it was a problem, it should have been addressed before now. My mom also agrees that disinviting my nephew is too far, since our wedding is so soon, and we all need to sit down and talk if there's a problem. I tried reaching out to nephew to talk about it with my fiancé, but he thinks she is being dramatic. Am I the a-hole for disinviting my nephew this close to the wedding? No. Uninvite the little barely concealed homophobia so hard it hurts his smug butt. Juvenile hateful crap has consequences, and you don't have to put up with it at your wedding. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. If your brother has an issue with already having bought his arrangements, you're not stopping him from going to the destination itself. He can sit his pretty butt in the room or somewhere else while the wedding is going on. Not the a-hole. He hurt your fiancée, and this is her wedding too. Your nephew has been warned, and he still continues to disrespect her. I wouldn't want him there either. 18 is old enough to know better than to be so hurtful. Too bad about them losing money. They can make their son pay them back, but it's not your problem. Only have people there who love you both and support your union. So I, 29 female, am getting married to my fiancée, Julie, 33 female, next week. Julie's younger brother, Paul, 29 male, has been my best friend for 7 years and was due to be my joint maid of honor. Paul and I went on exactly one date when we were 18, lost contact a few weeks later when we both moved away for college. I moved back into our hometown straight after college, and so did he. We happened to be at the same party one night, and he made a comment about how weird our date was all those years ago. I agreed, and we became fast friends after that. Best friends shortly later. He has been there for me for so many things, and he comforted me when my parents died. A couple of years after we reconnected, Julie moved into town, and Paul introduced us. Julie and I had instant chemistry, and she asked me out. I told her I'd get back to her after I checked it was okay with Paul and wouldn't make him feel weird. I asked Paul if he was okay with it, and he assured me that he very much was, and that he was the one who encouraged Julie to ask me out in the first place. Our first date was fantastic, and 5 years later, we're getting married. I wore my wedding dress for my bridal party, including Paul, yesterday for the first time since I ordered it during virus, and they've never seen me wear it before. Everyone assured me that I looked great. Later that night, Paul and I were watching TV when all of a sudden he turned to me very seriously. He told me that he had been in love with me for years, and that seeing me in my dress overwhelmed him, and that he realized the mistake he made introducing me to Julie all those years ago, because I should be with him. Obviously, I was upset. I told him introducing me to the love of my life wasn't a mistake, and that I needed space and asked him to leave. 2 days later, I texted him telling he was no longer part of my bridal party, and that I have to tell Julie what he said, but I think it's likely we'll agree that it's best he doesn't attend at all. I planned to tell Julie when she got home from work. Paul got there first. He told her we had a massive fight, and I had been spreading lies about him. She didn't believe him, of course. When I told her what happened, she was in shock. She immediately called Paul, who denied everything. He was quite convincing, and I told him to cut the BS. Julie said she needed some space to process, which I understood. I called Paul the next day and told him he needed to grow up and admit to Julie what happened, because she deserved to know the truth of what he said. This has caused a huge divide in our bridal parties and friends. Everyone agrees that uninviting him was right, but some say me asking him to tell her everything he said is adding insult to injury. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole, but I would suggest stopping all contact with him for now. Unless at family events, then be cordial. The more you try to pressure him into telling the truth, the more he's going to shut down, and the more you look bad. Julie has heard both sides, and sounds like she doesn't believe him anyway. It's up to her now what she would like to do about it. Not the a-hole. Paul can pound sand. As satisfying as it sounds, having him fess up might miss his mark if it's a captive audience situation for your fiancé, and she's not ready for it. Paul's already the jerk. The truth will make it out in due time. Not the a-hole for uninviting, and not the a-hole for being truthful with your future spouse. Things like that have a way of getting out. It's better to come clean and discuss it now before the wedding. Paul is the a-hole here. This isn't a rom-com where you dump the fiancé you love for her brother, and somehow everyone lives happily ever after. He should have kept his feelings to himself. What he did was incredibly selfish. Now, potentially no one ends up happy.